speaking of that, let's dive in here, shall we? So it's right on the dot. We will get started because we have a lot to cover here. So much to cover. So first, I just want to intro ourselves. So if this is your first time joining us and seeing Travefy for the first time, I don't normally wear this hat, but we needed props. But I'm Stephanie Grice, so senior education here at Travefy. Bonnie, I'll let you intro yourself.
Yes, hello everyone. I see a few familiar names in the chat already, but my name's Bonnie McLeod. I'm a senior client champion over here. So if you ever schedule trainings or need anything from support, usually it will get me or someone from our CC team. But glad to have everyone here today.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's the one thing I love seeing in the comments where people are like, "Oh, look, Bonnie, I did a training with her," or it's super awesome. So it's really cool. Glad to have my sidekick Bonnie on here, because I know there's gonna be a lot of questions through this, but we also have a hidden face, but there's Scott in here as well. So for those, if you've joined us before, you probably know good old Scott Rutz. He's in the background. So even though Bonnie and I are running this thing today, he is still back there helping us because, again, we know that you're gonna have a lot of questions and we really want to try to answer as many as possible. So he is back there. So if you get a chat from Scott, it's really him. It's not a robot back there. But the other thing I want to mention is this is being recorded. So if you do have to hop off, or honestly, also if you need to come back and watch this, because there's going to be a lot, again, that this is recorded. We'll make sure to get all of this on our YouTube channel. It probably just takes a couple hours, so it'll be on by the end of our day, the work day. So we'll have it on there. You'll also receive an email with it as well from Zoom. So we are recording all this. So again, that's the good thing. If you get a call, it's totally fine. The other thing is our agenda for today. So like I said, we're doing a lot. This is a great way to kick off the year because you're going to really get to see everything that's possible at Travefy. And so we're going to start with just an overview, but I'm also going to talk about training support. I mean, we got Bonnie here too, who can talk on it, on all the different ways that after this webinar, you can still get our help. And if you have questions that linger, we can definitely answer those for you. But then as you'd say, the meat and potatoes of today's webinar is really a demo of a whole cruise workflow from start to finish using Travefy. So it's a lot and it's going to be really fun. And I'm so excited also to do this focus just on cruises because it's such a fun thing. Cruises are awesome. So it's really fun to just hone in on how you would use it specifically for cruises. And then of course, time for Q&A at the end. So please do put those questions, try to use the Q&A panel if possible, because I know there is that chat, but that can get a little hard for us to follow sometimes. So if you can use that Q&A, definitely utilize it. And we'll try to answer some at the end live as well in there. Okay, so now the next thing that I want to talk about is training, because again, I keep saying it, but we really are going through so much today and we only have an hour together. So whether this is your first time seeing Travefy or if you've been using the platform for years, we are here to help. We have so much. And Bonnie, I'll let you talk about support side too.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you ever feel like, you need an additional person just on there with you, I know a lot of times that helps, or a hands-on learner, trainings are really fun to do that because one, webinars, we love hearing Stephanie talk about all of these things, but sometimes you just need to sit down, take it in, digest a little bit. And trainings are a really great way to kind of just put into what you learned onto your trips, into your website builder, etc. But would love to have you. We also have a ton of FAQs for every type of learner. We got a certification program if you're quiz-based. So a lot of great resources to check out for sure.
Yeah, there's so much. It's really cool. And it's just going to be really it's awesome. I think like the support stuff and like all the things, and you might just get Bonnie too. Might just like see her face again very soon and getting the training. So really awesome there. Now, what we want to talk about here today, and again, this is why we wanted to talk about like training, because again, there's a lot we're covering here, and this is everything. Now, everything that I'm going to talk about here too is all in a Travefy subscription. So if you already have Travefy, you have access to everything I'm about to talk about. And if you don't, you can start a free trial, and we'll talk about how to do that at the end, but you'll also be able to access all of this as well, which is super cool. Now, here's what we're going to do today. So this is literally kind of the agenda for today is we're going to go through a whole workflow. So when you start your workflow, you always start with getting those new clients, those leads, which is marketing. So on the marketing side for Travefy, we have the website and landing page builder. And so I'm going to start there. So that's what we're going to start off with, which is very exciting because that's one of my absolute favorite parts of Travefy. I know Bonnie too. We love this part. It's so cool. It's such an easy way to market your cruises. So we're going to start there. But then from there, we're going to say, okay, now you have marketed. Now you're starting to get leads. So what do you do with those leads? So you get those leads from by them filling out forms and all of that. And you can integrate it in your website. And so we're going to talk about that. But then once you get those forms filled out, we're going to talk about what happens to them and then how you organize and your clients and have that client management side. So then we're going to talk about the CRM side, all in there and just walking you through how it works, but then how you can set yourself up for success so you never miss anything. You can create tasks for yourself, all of that good stuff. And then from there, once you have your clients in and they're ready, they want a proposal, we're going to move to that side. So then we're going to move into how you can create, the proposal or a quote for your client, or maybe you just skip straight to the itinerary part, which we're also going to cover. And then we're going to talk about that trip management side where your clients actually can, view their trip on the go, even on a cruise ship, even without Wi-Fi data, they can still get that information and see how they can use all that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover all of this. We're going to walk through the whole thing. But the other thing that I want to mention is we're going to be sharing a lot of links throughout this. So I have Bonnie, Bonnie's going to be like the link master of sharing like quick videos, things, because again, we're covering a lot. So we won't have time to really dive into everything very deep. So we'll be sharing links throughout so we can, you can get more information on all that stuff throughout the entire workflow too. And also I just saw, hi, Ann Gordon, who said, ahoy, Captain Stephanie. Yes, thank you. I was like, this feels weird. I might need to take it off. It's getting warm in here, but that's okay. We're keeping this thing on. We need to, all aboard. We're going in. There it is. I had to do it. So here we go. So we're jumping in here. So the first thing we're talking about when we look at our workflow here is website and landing pages. So we're talking about the marketing side. So when it comes to marketing, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can actually use Travefy to create these amazing marketing pages. Now, what we call them is pages. And when you get into your account, you're going to see this. So this is what it looks like. Everybody sees the same thing. But at the top of your dashboard here, you have what's called pages. And that's what we call it. We call it pages. And I'm going to click into here. We call it that because this can be your website. So you can use this as your complete website. You can go ahead and you can put your multi-page website in here, or if you already have a website somewhere else, or if you're using Travefy, you can also use this to just have one-off pages to promote a specific cruise, a service, literally whatever you want. I'm going to show you some examples actually of what is possible, but that's what you can do. And you can create unlimited pages. So that's what's really cool. Again, it allows you to promote these cruises and your business. Now, before I dive in how this actually works and how you put it together, I just want to show you a couple examples here of, these are examples of pages that I put together. One of them is actually a real life one, but this one is one I put together for like a river cruise. So you can see it's literally, again, it's just a link because again, it's one page. It's just one link. You can share it on social media and an email newsletter. And then they can access, the itinerary. And then of course, we're trying to push them to get new leads here. So we're connecting it to like a form, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to walk through that. But one I'm excited to share with you. I have to say, shout out to Amanda Santana if you're joining us live on here. She shared this in our Facebook group. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so timely. Amanda, can we please share this? Because it's so cool. Look at what she created. This is on Travefy. So she created this to promote multiple cruises. So she's highlighting multiple cruises, and this is so easy to do. And you're going to see that today, how easy it is to actually do this. And you can just go ahead. She has like the itineraries in here, and then she has the final, like, okay, if you're ready, fill out this form. How neat is that? So really cool, just showing you what's possible there. Now, I want to do one together here. I've already started building one just again to save time. But you can see in my drop down, this is where you'll find all the different pages you're building. So again, this is how you can see, you can literally create as many of these as you want to promote anything at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on a tulip river cruise. That's what I just found. I was like, that looks awesome. Let's promote that. So I'm just focusing on one cruise. But again, remember, you could do all of them. You can also promote ocean cruise or river like I'm doing right now. So it's very versatile in that way. But now I've already started building and putting this together. But when you do create a new page, it's very easy. But I'm going to have Bonnie drop in a couple really quick videos that we have of how to get started with pages, whether it's a website or a landing page that you can check out after this. But really, how you put this together is really simple. It's basically drag and drop with what we call elements. So as you can see in the top right-hand corner, I can click new element and I can choose. You can see all these different elements and you just drag and drop them. So depending on how you want this to look, so maybe you want like an image banner, you want just an image in there, you want to add some different information. That's all you do. It's really easy. You just come in, and then when you edit these elements, you can just come in here, type in what you want, add your own photos, add buttons. Very simple. There's also a lot of customization with the colors and the theme. We have different themes you can choose from. So it really helps. You can brand this by putting your logo in here. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in here to make it reflect your branding. But I did want to add just a couple things in here together just to show you. And I want to add two elements to this page. One of them is of an itinerary because, again, you're building this on Travefy, so you can link trips that you've created in Travefy in here. And then I also want to link a form, which is probably by the end the most important thing that you can add in here. So let's add that itinerary first. So I'm going to add the itinerary. I'm just going to add it right over here. So what I'm going to do to include this is I'm going to start off by choosing an element. Now I'm going to click new element, and I am going to do the trip gallery. So right here, this trip gallery. Now I'm going to drag and drop it in. Now this element is created with itineraries in mind. So in here, what I can do is I have what are called cards. So I'm going to delete two of them. So just let me do that really quick just to clean it up, because we're just going to do one. But again, you could do multiple, because like what Amanda did here, she put multiple trips in here. So you can do as many as you want. But in here, what I'm going to do is I could go ahead and I could fill out like heading, all this stuff. But actually what's really easy is just importing an itinerary directly from my Travefy account. By scrolling to the bottom, I'm going to click import trip or import from Travefy, then choose trip. And then I'm going to click that. Now you're going to see these are the trips I have. So I already created this trip before this, so you'll want to create it before. But I have the Tulip Time River Cruise. So I'm just going to click it. And here's the information. Now I can edit this. This is just pulling in what I've already added to this itinerary. So I could go ahead and change this if I wanted, change the photo, all of that. But otherwise, that's all I'm doing. I'm just saving this right in here. And now I have this trip. It's easy. You're going to see what it looks like for our clients now in a minute. But as you can see, that's how easy it is to add those trips. And then when we get to the itinerary side, you're going to see how even easier it is to pull in cruise itineraries. It's really, really simple. So we'll see that a little bit later on. But the last thing that I want to add here is I want to add that form, because again, the next step of this sales workflow is actually getting those leads and that client information so that we can continue the conversation in the sales workflow. So what I'm going to do is you can add a button anywhere in here. I personally like to add buttons at the bottom here and make it my call to action. Again, I'm going to keep using Amanda's example here, but like you can see how she did that too. She put a button at the end, and then she also put one at the top. So you can choose where these buttons are headed, where they're going to go. But to add a button is so simple. You just click in to edit that element like I'm doing now. And then over on the right-hand side, you're going to click add button. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose that I want this button to be a form. Now, when you're adding buttons in your page or your website, you can add, you can link it to an external link. They can just be sending you an email directly, but you can choose form. So again, you can choose form here. Now what I'm going to do is you can put the button. So I'm going to say, I'm interested. That's what the button. So when they click on this button, it's because they're interested. So you can put your own button on there or text. And then what you can do is to put this form, you can either start creating a new form right here. So you could create a new form if you wanted right here. It's very easy to do. You just create it. You can add your questions. We also have templates that you can just pull from. So you could just create a template and just add it that way. Or if you've already created forms, which again, the next step, we'll get deeper into forms and talk about where those are living. But if you've already created a form, you also can do import from Travefy, see the forms you already have, and you can see right here, this Tulip River Cruise, that's what I want. So I'm going to select it, and now it is linked. So check this out. So now I'm going to save all this. Let's save it. Okay, so we have this saved. And again, I know this is a lot and very fast, but highly recommend checking out those videos that Bonnie's posted, but also we'll have questions. So if anything that I need to come back to, just let us know and we can try to come back to those too. But what's really nice though about this is there you have your page. Now, again, I already had some of this already laid out, but it's really not that hard. You have some pictures, some text, and then you've added that, call to action form. And so now you're ready to share it. So when you want to share this, how that works is you are just going to go ahead and I'm going to start by clicking publish. So I'm just going to say publish there. Now, when you publish this, once you click that green button at the top, it is out there and we've created now a link. Now, this link you will be able to find in the settings right in here, and you can just click this and go into that link. And in fact, I am going to just drop this link in that chat so you can actually pull it up and see. That is that link you're going to get. Now, I'm not going to go all the way into this, but we do offer free domain masking. So you can also mask this domain, completely branded, all of that good stuff. And there's like SEO. Seriously, there's so much you can do in here. So it's really, really incredible. But with that link now, you can go ahead and you can open it up. And your clients are going to see this, whether they're on mobile, computer, they're going to be able to scroll through, view that trip, which if we click view trip, we can say, okay, look at it. And here you can see, this is the trip that I created. Very simple, just an overview of the cruise. And then, of course, at the bottom, we have that button. So let's fill it out. Let's pretend we're the client. So I'm going to say Sally Smith. This is going to be me pretending I am a traveler. And then I'm going to fill out, I'm just going to create an address. Okay. I'm going to put in a phone number. And this, again, look at how easy it is to collect all this information. So I asked a couple questions and I just added this myself. So this is where you can completely add anything that you want, in here. And then let's just fill that out. Okay. So here's my form. I filled it out. So this is what the client would do. And now I'm going to submit it. So now what's happening after they submit this form, you are going to receive an email letting you know that they have filled this form out. And then you are able to go in and see the responses. So now that we did that, I am going to go ahead now and I'm going to move over into the next stage because now that we have our marketing side, we have started to collect new leads. And now we want to start reaching out to them and connecting with them. So here's how we're going to do that. So now let me get out of here. Okay, I'm going to exit this preview. Now, whenever you need to get back, this is a good tip. I know this is something that I never think about because I'm so used to Travefy, but when you're in the builder, the website landing page builder, just click the back button in the top left-hand corner, and then you are back. So then you're back in here. Now you're probably wondering though, okay, where's that new lead at now? So that new lead is, again, you're going to get an email. So when you get that email, you can go directly to their responses, but the responses are actually living in the library because that's where the forms are. So now we're going to go in. I'm just going to show you this slide really quick here because we started on the marketing. Now we're going into the leads and client management side. So that is going to live in your library and contacts. So you can see up here at the top, you can see where it says library, and I'm going to click that. And then now you can see in here, and this is my library. If you're unfamiliar, new to the library is where you save information to reuse again, but also where your forms are. So this is where you can create new forms, get links to those forms, share them, all of that good stuff. But when I have in here a new response, I'm just going to click into that form and then view responses. And here it is. So here's that new client that just signed up. Now from here, I could go in and I can see, I could go ahead and download the PDF for it. But here's where it gets really fun. So you can see this option where it says assign to new contact. Now, if this person already existed in my contacts, my CRM with the Travefy, it would register that. It would know this person and it would just assign this form into their contact profile. But this is a new lead. So I'm going to go ahead and click assign to new contact. And now this person is in my contacts now. So I can always go in and see the form they filled out. I can start adding things for them. So we're going to go in there in a second. So that's how that works, how you start assigning those contacts. But before I jump into the contacts, I do just want to quickly share, how to do these forms in here because I created the form before, but you can also just create them in the library and then send them as external links later. And you can do that really easily by clicking the new library item and just click form, and then you just create it from there. Again, it's really easy. Just click form. And then again, you can create new questions, but then you can also create from templates as well that we have. There's tons of stuff. And again, I'm going to have Bonnie share a little bit too, I have some more links here coming your way of just all kinds of things to more in-depth check out, forms, all that kind of stuff that you can do in there, because credit card authorization is another one of them too that you can create in here in e-signatures. So telling you, there's a lot you can do, which is really cool. But for this time, I am going to jump into contacts so we can look at this Sally Smith and start moving on our workflow here. So I'm just going to delete this form here. And now let's hop into contacts. So at the top, you see where contacts is. And again, this is where everyone's living. So when someone fills out a form and you create that new contact, here's where they're coming. They're going right into here. And here's the best part. Do you notice how my details here is already gathering their email and their phone number because they filled it out? So it's really intuitive, knowing like where it needs to go with smart fields and all that good stuff. But just a quick overview on, everything you can do within the contact profile is you can do tons of stuff. Here's a good example. You can add notes in here. So like when you get on a call, if you get like on a consultation call with them or something, you can write notes in there. You also can add custom fields. So if there's certain information you need to be collecting for them, you can add that right in here. All that good stuff. You'll start to see what trips they've been part of. So if you've sent proposals to them or itineraries in the past, you can always go back and see what they've been part of. You can also access the forms they filled out. So like the one that Sally just filled out, here it is right here. So I can always come back to it, view those responses. And then another thing that's a hidden gem, let me tell you, is the document section. This section right here does not get enough attention because it is completely safe and secure. So this is an area where you can actually store like secure information like passport info, stuff like that. And this is where you can keep it. It's really cool. Highly recommend using it because again, it really can keep everything in one place for you. So that's what's really cool there as well. But coming back in here for Sally here. So again, I can view these responses, and maybe the next thing I need to do is maybe I need to send her a proposal. So this is also where the management side comes in, where we offer what we call tasks and reminders, and then you can also set up automations. So if you get this inquiry and it's like, let's say you're burning the late night oil, midnight oil. can't remember what it would be. Yeah, it's like, I was like, yeah, you're burning the late night time. And so what you can do is you can come in here and you can be like, okay, tomorrow at a decent hour, I'm going to reach out to Sally. So I'm going to make a task for myself. I can say, okay, send a proposal or a quote, you know, something like that. And I can put a date on it. So let's just say tomorrow. I can put a time for a reminder that I want to get it. And then there we have it. So I have like this reminder now. So you can always create these one-off tasks like I just did, but you can also create entire task lists that you import. And again, Bonnie, feel free to share more links because there's so much you can do with that also. Where, you know, if you get a new client and you have a system, you have like, I need to do this with them, then this, I need to send this form. Maybe you're collecting payment fees, things like that. You can create a whole task list that you can import for new contacts. So you never forget anything. Telling you, it's awesome. Really, really cool stuff in there. But that's how that would work. So then, you know, you've collected their information, you've organized it. Now let's say you've talked to Sally, you're ready to send a proposal. So now we're moving on in here. Now we're going from that marketing, the website. We collected the form information, the clients, and then we managed it with our CRM side. Now we're going into proposals and itineraries. So now here's the big, this is a big part, you know, Travefy started in this area in the itinerary proposal side. So I'm really excited to jump into this with you. So to start this new proposal for Sally Smith, we are going to go into our trips. So we're going to go back to our trips list. Now here you can see all the trips I've been working on. Now, if you want to create a new one, you just click new trip and you can choose itinerary or proposal. Now, here's the thing with both of these. I kind of don't like to put too much emphasis on one or the other because an itinerary is going to give the client the option to get the mobile app and download a PDF, which we're going to look at the end here. But if it's a proposal, it's going to take them through a special workflow where they can see the trip, but then it's going to have them approve it, and then it turns into the itinerary. So that's really the difference between the two. And I'm going to show you it because we're going to create a proposal. But I just want to say, though, if you accidentally ever create the wrong one, and you meant to create a proposal and you create an itinerary, it's okay because all you have to do is click under type and then under this drop down, just change it. It's simple. So the builder is going to look the exact same. So don't worry if you ever do make a mistake with that. It's totally fine in there. But now I'm going to start this as a proposal. And again, maybe in your workflow, you might not have the quote because maybe that's already happened. So you're jumping straight to the itinerary. So you're going to do this very similar, the same way that I'm doing this now. So that's why this demo kind of works for either or way of that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to create a new trip and choose proposal here. And now I have a brand new trip to work out of. So this is what it looks like. Again, if you've never seen Travefy's itinerary builder and trip builder, here it is in all its glory. You can see it. Now, a couple of things that I want to add first here with you is I just want to add the really basic things. So like the trip name and the date. So I'm going to click on settings here at the top. I'm going to click settings. Now let's just say Smith family cruise vacation. And sorry, my microphone's kind of in the way of my keyboard. Let me do that. There we go. Now I'm going to choose a start date. You might not. So I'm going to show you after this. If you like to propose various cruises, we have a way to do that. But in this one right now that I'm going to do, I'm going to do just one cruise, but then I'm going to come back and show you how you would show multiple cruises. So we'll address both here. But I'm going to go ahead and select March 2nd as the date. And here's where you can put pricing also. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in I'm going to say, let's say like, and you can do anything in here. I can say like starting at 5,000 per person or whatever you want to put in there. So you can put that in there. There's also other places you can put pricing. So that's just one option. But I'm going to go ahead and put that there. And then I'm just going to click save changes just to go ahead and save that. One final thing I'm going to do before I move on is I want to change this cover photo back here. So I can just click change cover photo. Now we do have free stock photos that you can use, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull in a photo that I have. I'm just going to drag and drop. So if you ever want to put like a photo of like the ship or something, you can always just upload it here. Really, really easy there. I'm going to save changes and there we go. Okay. So now it's set. So now that this trip is ready now, let's start adding information to this. Okay, so now this I would have to say might be the biggest part of this whole webinar is how to add the cruise because we have a cruise database built into Travefy. And so what's really great about this is that you can pull in all the major ocean and river cruises directly into any trip. Let me show you how. So in this one, I am going to say this cruise is departing on the 3rd. So I'm going to add another day here so I can jump into Sunday because whenever you're adding a cruise, you want to go into the day that it departs. And then you want to go ahead and click new event. And then from here, this is where you get to decide, what type of event are you adding? And then we have a lot of databases, of course, to look things up. But I'm going to go ahead and select cruise because that's what we're doing here. And now here's where the fun part happens. This is where you get to decide, okay, what's the cruise line? And again, we have all the major ocean, river, and cruise lines in here. Now, I will say, even though at the beginning of this sales workflow, I was talking about a river cruise, I'm going to do an ocean one now because I wanted to give them equal balance here. So we're going to do a Royal Caribbean cruise. So I'm going to go ahead and you can see Royal Caribbean. So then I get a breakdown. Okay, now what ship am I looking for? And I'm looking for Oasis of the Seas. So you can see all of them in here. And here it is. And now we have this cruise. So this is the one I want. So you're going to go ahead and say, okay, that's the one, but I'm going to verify this is correct. So it's important just to go through and check this and make sure this is all correct. The dates look right. So now I'm going to go ahead and add it to the itinerary. Now here's where, okay, this is where I'm drum rolling. This is the drum roll. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Look at this. Look, I didn't do anything. I just pressed a button. So now we have all of this information. And again, this is coming from Travefy's database, and we're getting this from the cruise. So this is coming in. What's great about this is you can just keep it the way it is. Look, you're getting deck plans, you're getting photos, you're getting when it's arriving, what's happening when it's arriving, what about the place. There's a day it's just cruising, so you have that. All of this stuff. It's so great, so amazing. However, one thing that's really awesome is you can for sure edit anything you want. It's the beauty of Travefy. We try to give you as much information as possible, but of course, it's up to you to customize it for your clients. So you can always come in if you want to add more information, you need to add like pricing, anything like that. Come in here and do so. Very easy. You can just add all of that in there. There's a lot you can do. So that's how you add that. And so that's also going back really quick. I want to note is going back to the landing pages, how I mentioned how easy it is to throw in, these itineraries and trip, because all I'm doing is looking it up. It's just taking a couple seconds. So it's very easy. But now you're probably wondering, you're like, okay, that's really awesome. But now how do I add in everything else? So let's just add a few things here together. So I'm going to start off, let's say, for the pre-cruise information, their flight and their hotel. So to do all of that, it's just like I looked up the cruise where I want to go ahead and go into that day. And I'm going to click new event button. And now let's add a flight. Let's start off with that. So I'm going to click the flight option. And this is also really great. We have a flight database also. So you can just look up that flight just by typing in the airline and then the flight number. So this is also great. Why proposals, this isn't coming through like a booking confirmation. It's just finding the flight details. So that way you don't have to have like a reservation to be looking this up. You can just add it right in there like this. And there you have it. You can see. And also, here's one of the greatest parts about this. And I know our users on here can attest to this, that this also is great because it's going to track the flight. So when your client is, they're on the go and, if their flight gets delayed, they get notified through here. You'll get notified, they get notified. It keeps up to date. It's so awesome in there. Can't tell you, I heard a lot of stories about how much that has saved people, and just really wowed their clients, which is really awesome in there. And then, of course, again, if you need to come in, like if you need to add pricing, all that good stuff, just click in to edit this event. And then you can also include pricing, add information, all that good stuff. So again, all the things that you can do in here. Yeah, and someone just said, I love the flight updates. It's faster than the airline. Yeah, that's happened to me personally. I think all of us at Travefy have experienced it, like where we get notified before the airline tells you. It's really cool. Super, super awesome in there. But okay, so a couple things I want to add here before we look at the proposal workflow of this. So the other thing I want to add is a hotel. So we also have a hotel database too. So when you want to add that, just click a new event, and then you're going to choose the lodging option. So you can go ahead and choose lodging, and then you can go ahead and type in the name of the place. So I'm actually going to do the Hilton Miami downtown. And as I'm typing this in, notice how it's starting to find it for me. And you can see there's options here. So this is Travefy's database. You can also look in your library, you can save information. So if you use, you've created this, you've added your own photos, information about this place, you can just find it in your library as well. So it makes it easy. But we're just going to add it and look at everything this adds as well. You can see we have information that's coming through. We have photos already as well. Tons of things. So you can see all of that in here. And again, all customizable. So if you want to add your own, you can edit that if you'd like as well. So really easy. Now, one last thing, actually I lied, there's two things that I want to point out as well, because a lot of times with these cruises, you also like to put in the tours and the excursions as well. And so to add those, there is different ways you can add it. We do have booking supplier integrations that you can use, but since this is a proposal, sometimes it's best just to add it because you're adding them as options and you're trying to upsell, obviously, like if you don't add it and they don't see it, they don't know it's available to them. So it's really important to add those in. And it's really easy as well. So if I were to add in like a tour option manually, all I have to do is go into that day I want to add it. And let's just say for this day, I can just say new event, and I'm going to choose activity. And then I'm going to come in, and then let's just say like this is a wave jet tour, and this is through Royal Caribbean. So I could go, here's actually, this is what it is. Now you can, of course, you can do a lot. You can come in, you can add photos, all that kind of stuff, but I like to just, copy and paste the information in there. Really, really cool, can do all of that. And then, of course, you can add the pricing, the time. So let's just add a price on here just so you see what it looks like. So I'm just gonna say 100, and then we'll just say done editing, and there it is. And let's move that to the middle. And then we have that like as an option. So then we can say like, do you want to book this? Like these are options for you. One side note, I would also, a very good pro tip is when you add things like this that you're likely to reuse again, save it to your library. I would recommend that. You can do it really easily just by going in to edit this, like where I just was, and then click these three dots at the bottom next to the done editing button, and just click save to library. And you can also organize your library items with tags, and you can put like Royal Caribbean, like Oasis, or then put like the Labadee, you can put those. So then that way, when you're searching in your library, you can just see like, what do I have on there for Royal Caribbean, this island? And then you just bring them in. Super easy. Really, really easy to do that in there as well. Okay, so one last thing I want to do before I show you. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, everyone, there's a lot in here. One last thing that I want to add in here is city guides, because these are going to be game changers for you when you're doing cruises. So Travefy has destination content built in. Now here's how you access it. What's really great about this is, let's say when they're going to Jamaica here, maybe we're not putting anything in here, but it would be nice to put like a city guide. So what I can do is come over here into where my library is on the right-hand side, and then you're going to click city guides, type in the name. So let's say, there he is. Now, okay, I'm just going to drag and drop this in. So I'll explain what I'm doing while it's loading. So basically, this is going to bring in the entire city guide, and this is a lot. So look, it tells you about the city. It tells you things to do and see. So you can come in and customize this, add whatever you want. all of that. And this, I see so many users do this. This is a lot of times. And I know too, if you ever have, so we have over 625 different destinations worldwide. But if you ever see a city that's, or a destination that's not listed, you can always manually create your own. But we also have a library sharing gallery where we've created some, again, I'll have Bonnie drop that in the chat, but in there you'll find a lot. We've tried to really get, especially like the Caribbean islands, we've tried to really create a lot of city guides, so that way you can view it and then you can just save it to your library, so then you have access to it. Highly recommend. Good pro tip right there. But there you have it. There you have, you know, your proposal. So let's take a look at what this looks like for a client, shall we? So when you want to send it to them, you can just click the send button, top right hand corner. And then you can email it, just email it directly to them, really simple. But you can also just get a link. So if you just want to get a link to it, you could also do that as well. But here's what it looks like. It's very handy. If you haven't looked at Travefy for a couple months, this probably looks a little new, huh? It's so we updated it and it's so beautiful. It is so nice because you have this where they can scroll through and they can view this on any device too, but then they can actually get a really quick overview of these days. So like instead of jumping to Thursday, I could just see like what's happening that day and then I can jump to it. So it's really incredible. They also can chat with you on here. So if they have questions as like with the proposal, they can ask those questions in here as well with you. But then when they're ready to go ahead and approve it, just go ahead. They will click the approve button. And then they're just going to go ahead and put in their name, email, and then click approve. And then what's going to happen is very similar to how the forms were earlier, where you're going to get an email notification letting you know that they have just filled out this, they've just accepted the proposal, which is very exciting. And then now what's going to happen is this proposal is still going to stay in your account, but now it is going to convert itself into the itinerary. So now you don't have to recreate this. It's all set. You also can go ahead and download the PDF of what they propose or what they accepted in the agreement as well. Just so nice. And they also are going to be able to get that as well. So they're going to, when they approve it, they're receiving an email with the PDF copy of what they just approved. So they have it too, which is just such a cool workflow going through there. So then that way, what you can do is you can just come in here if you need to edit this, if you need to say, oh, they ended up booking this tour. So now what I need to do is add like confirmation, or maybe you need to, you know, add a document in there, add trip insurance information, whatever it is, you can just come in and completely edit all of that in here. And then when they are ready to view this, when they're ready to take it on the go, so we're getting to the last step here, is that you are just going to go ahead and you can send it again to them. But if you already sent it to them with a proposal, they actually already have the link, which is really nice because that link never changes just because it switched to an itinerary. But now it's going to look a little different because at the top here, you can now see, and again, let me see if I can like zoom in. Oh, that was like too much. Right up here at the top, the app and the PDF option. So you can see that at the top now, how there's the app and PDF. So here's what they're going to do. Now, if they want a PDF copy, they can just go ahead and click PDF. You can also get a PDF on your end and send it to them. So if you like to do it that way, we have a lot of users who do that, where they'll just go ahead and click, you know, the PDF and print it out for their clients. Or they can go ahead and click the app option, which now here is such a cool part. The app option is going to, since I'm viewing this on my computer, it's going to tell me, hey, go get this. I'm going to send you a link on your email to open up on your phone. Because if you tap the app button or you open this on your phone, it will take them directly to the App Store, Google Play Store, iOS App Store, and it's going to have them download what's called Trip Plans. Now, here's the app. This is the app your clients use. It is called Trip Plans. It allows them to view everything on the go. They can get, you know, access to those documents if you included, those real-time updates we were talking about, the flight stuff. You can also chat with your clients on here as well. So it's a way to stay connected. It's very simple. So here's a walkthrough of how they get it. They'll be able to download this on there as well. Now, one thing, since we are talking about cruises specifically, a lot of times they might not have access to the internet, or maybe Wi-Fi is slower. So what they can do is they can choose the option in here, right here. There's that toggle where it says available offline. Tell them to turn that on because it'll save everything. So that way, when they are without using data or Wi-Fi, they can still open that app and view everything, which is really cool. And if you make any updates or if you send them chats, it'll automatically send those updates to their app and they'll just receive them right away when it connects. So it's really, really cool. So important for that app. The other thing I will mention too is if you ever are, or that's their app in there as well, but you have your own app to use. And if you do not have it, I highly recommend, I'm looking right at the camera, you should get this app. So if you don't have it, download the Travefy Pro app. This is what it looks like. So even though I'm in the App Store here, it's still Google Play Store as well. It'll look like this. And this is the app that you want because it's going to give you more options. It's going to allow you to see all your clients' trips on the go. It's also going to, you'll get those updates. You can chat with them, but you can also see all your tasks. So again, remember how we created that task for ourselves? You can do those. So when you're on the go, I can be like, oh, I need to remember to like contact that supplier, make a task on the go. You can see everything. So it's really, really cool in there as well. Now, two things before I get into questions here. I just saw a question come through that I do want to make sure I state because I didn't say this before. Someone had asked if they get the app with the proposals. So that's important distinguish difference between the itinerary and the proposal. A proposal does not allow them to download an app because you don't want that happening. You don't want them to save it. You want them just to be able to view it because a lot of times you might only have that proposal available for like a week maybe or something, then pricing changes or something. So that's why we don't allow them to download the itinerary or the app with the proposal. But if you want them to get that, then you just have to make it an itinerary. So that's why once it converts into an itinerary, they have access to the app. It's really simple. It's really easy. And again, once it converts, they'll have the app option available. So it's not like something you have to go in and share with them. The other thing I want to mention, because I know there's questions about this too, is if you do have multiple cruise options you want to give, there's a couple ways. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's stuff coming, just FYI, that I'm really, really excited about. I know Bonnie and Scott are probably like, yep, don't spoil it, Steezy, but it's going to be awesome. So there's going to be some cool things coming in the next couple months. Stay tuned. That will help with this. But we have a really cool way, actually. When you want to create a multiple cruise proposal, I actually started making one just to show you in the builder, but I'll show you another way too. But you can actually use your days as segments. So earlier before, I added this cruise by looking it up with the specific day. So you have to avoid that. So what you'll do is you'll have to just click add a new day. And then you can customize the title of that day and then add in, just manually create this. It's so easy. I did this myself and it was really fast. But that's how you'll do that. And actually, I think I already have it open, but let me, let's see, it's this one. There we go. I'm going to drop this link in the chat because you can actually share, you can save this in your account. But I can't take credit for this. This one's all Scott. This is so cool because this is what it would look like if you did put different options where you can see like how, and we just manually created this. And again, you just save this stuff to your library, and you can just easily access it again. But this is options of what you can do. So there's a lot you can do there, which is cool. But I know, again, we are coming up on time so fast. So I want to make sure that I get to some questions. But if there's anyone new to Travefy, you can start a free trial by going to travefy.com. And you can go ahead and access all of this and start that trial, get on a demo. Again, I know this was so much. Like, I am sweating under this like captain's hat. And so there's so much. So just know there's tons of help with you. But okay, with that though, Bonnie, what is Q&A looking like?
Yes. No, we've got a lot of great questions. So thank you, Stephanie, for covering literally that entire workflow. I know it's felt like we needed to hold on to our seats with that, but I loved all of the information. A lot of others did too. And we've got some good questions ready for you. So to start off, we have one from Kira. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, Kira, but she goes, can you build a page upon a page? So can you have a main page and link to landing pages?
Yes. Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. So, what you would do. So this is what's cool about this. This is why we call it pages, because it literally could be its own thing just by itself, or it can be what we would say like a multi-page where you're connecting them. So yeah, you definitely could. So what you could do, here's a good example. Let's say this one right here is my main page. See up at the top how I have like I have a toolbar. So you can add this in multiple places, but here's one that I see often where up at the top you have your nav bar, and you might say like let's just say you might link this to something, but it won't say services, it'll say something else. And then you can actually just say the link type is to a different page, and we can just see your other pages. So then you can just go ahead and link it just like that. And then it's just linked in there. You also could put it like if you're, let's say you're putting you're putting your different like cruise cards, or like here's what I'm booking now, or highlighting. And again, you could just add like fill out the space and just put a button, and then again just choose that button to go to a different page. It's that way. But also the other thing I want to note too is if you have another website, you can also just take the link that we create for you, or that you create, and then just take that link and just it's just an external link, so you can also use it that way too, which is
Awesome. Yep. So many different ways you can go about using your page builder, even if you have a website elsewhere, if you don't have a website, if you want to just use landing pages or a combination, so many different ways to go about it. But
yeah,
to continue our way along, because I know we have a lot of questions and this is like the speed round.
speed round.
But
I like it.
Kelly goes, are the cruise itineraries from Royal Caribbean and Carnival integrated in software?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they are technically, yeah. So we don't work directly with Royal Caribbean Carnival. So we're working with another provider who's working with them. And that's how we're getting that information. So that is something important to note, that our stuff, we're always getting, like if there's updates with that cruise database, we're receiving it. But it is also, I see questions all the time about, if that cruise changes, it's not going to update like the flights do, because our database, once you add it in, it's added. So that's the one thing you'll just want to make sure that you pay attention to. It's always important just when you're adding it to double check that it's right, but it always should be. I mean, as long as we don't have another like the pandemic, that thing that happened when that like changed a lot of cruise itineraries. But now it should be hopefully pretty good, that you don't have to change things often. But yeah, that's a good question. But that's what's also really special about that database, is we have access to so many things. So that's what's cool about that too.
Awesome. And I just threw in the chat to our supplier list. We don't keep that a
Oh,
secret. So
perfect.
feel free, check it out, see if your vendor suppliers are on there. And if not, I always tell folks this too. Feel free to chat us. We can always integrate with a supplier. It's just a matter of if they want to integrate with us. So if you can do an introductory email to introduce both of us, we can get the ball rolling on that for you.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, those were good. Let's take a look at some others. So next one here is from Gary, and he goes, if you upload a trip to your website and make changes to the trip, you need to relink the trip. Or does that
No, that's
update?
the beauty. Yeah, yeah. So no, you don't have to. That's what's so cool about that, is any update to a trip is automatically updated. So it just updates itself, which is so nice. Then it saves so many steps.
Exactly. You don't have to redo it all over again. You just make one change,
Mm-hmm.
it updates everywhere, which is what we need with how busy the season is
Yeah.
already. But let's take a look at some more. The next
Oh,
one here is
oh,
from Heather. Oh,
mm-hmm.
do you have one?
Nope. I was looking at Heather's. So Heather's next, so
Oh,
that's perfect.
perfect. I'll go ahead and say it then. Heather goes, will that link be shorter, so that URL link from your webpage be shorter if you have domain masking set up?
Yes.
Or can you make it shorter within Travefy somehow? What are your tips and tricks there, Stephanie?
Oh yeah, that's an excellent question, because if we go in, let's go in this tulips in spring. So there's two things to this. So one, you could set up that domain masking, and again, we can help you do that on our end, and we have like an FAQ on how you do that. But if you own a domain, you can link it into Travefy for free, and so that way that's already shortening it because you have your domain in there. But then we have this thing called a page slug. It is a fun one. So you have this, so it's always in your settings of your website, or of this page, the specific one. And look at this right here. See how this page slug, we automatically, it's just normally like, it's just a number jumble of letters and numbers to make this unique page, so we know where they're going, but you can change it. So I changed this to 2023 River Cruise webinar sample. So that way this link now is really simple. And so the link, so that way if you're talking to someone and you're like, oh, just go to websitename.com / 2023 River Cruises or something like that, and you can make it simple. So it's that page slug. That's really what's going to be your friend there, is utilizing that.
Absolutely. And still, we don't know why it's called page slug, but just know that is
Yeah,
what
it's just
you
like
were wanting to
the
look
trail
for.
behind.
I
Yeah,
just
it's like the
imagine
trail
an
behind the
actual
HTML.
an actual slug of some sort, but awesome. I've got one from Brad, and I think this was more of a comment, but I love the comment. It's so now, because you can add a secure link to your proposals, you can put your credit card authorization form for a deposit on your proposal,
Yes.
which,
Oh my goodness. Yes. So glad. Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
yes, Brad.
It's yes. No, it's so true. So, okay, we've been releasing so many things, everybody. Like if you should join our another link I'm throwing at you here. You should join our Facebook group, because there's constantly so much, and there's more coming. Like you might hear from us even today. Even there's so much. But this is one thing that just released where previously, when you would create forms, when you would create like, let's say, okay, this credit card authorization form, or if it was just an e-signature, so an e-signature form too, those always had to be sent directly to the client. Like there wasn't a way to get a link like you could with other forms, but now you can. So now what you can do is you just have to make sure that when you fill this out, you're going to have to put an authorization amount, or you can also allow the client to say what you want, what their authorization amount should be, and then just fill out this part here. And once you have that, here, let's just say, I'm just going to say trip, just to fill that out. Once you fill that out, just click the share button. And then now you have this link. So now this is huge for especially like those group cruises or group trips. If you're building pages, you can have them say like, okay, put your deposit, like let's get this going, like let's do this. So that's a really cool thing. Super awesome. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Yes. And I realized the link that I just put in there was a link to our actual Travefy business page.
Oh, yeah.
I will be putting in the official group page here soon so you can join. But no, that has been an amazing feature. And you can just link, you can put on your website, everywhere.
All the things. One other thing, I'm actually going to mention another
Yeah.
thing here, because this is another thing that's coming. And I saw someone commented about this, and it's so true. When you're creating these forms, there's things called smart fields. And this is actually really important because I would recommend using these. So we have what's called smart fields, and a smart field is going to intuitively connect the answer, the response, to the contact profile. So remember when we had Sally Smith coming in and it automatically uploaded her email and phone number, like it knew where to go? That's because it was a smart field. And so when you're creating your forms, come in here and you'll just see where it says smart field. And then you can choose, okay, what is the name? So it's the name, email, phone, address. Use those for those specific items, because then it's going to, again, intuitively know to attach itself to your contact profile. Now, something that's coming, again, this literally you might hear from us today, is that we also are starting to link smart fields, expanding those out for your custom fields, but more to come on it, but just keep that in mind. But yes, smart fields is utilize those in when you are creating forms, especially just like the basic forms like this, like inquiry, things like that. Really important.
Perfect. No, and we're right on time, which this just flew by. So
I
thank
know.
you so much again for packing all of that information within just an hour. But recording, it's going to be on YouTube later today, so you can pause it when you need to, rewatch it. We'll be including links in that description for you to check out if you missed anything in the chat. But no, thank you so much, Stephanie.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so sorry I didn't leave. There's not more time for Q&A. There's so much in here, but I do want to say too, I know that check out those, the like videos that we shared, but also if you go to our support channel, so if you go to travefy.com/support, there's getting started guides in there. And then we also have our YouTube channel, which has we actually have brand new getting started guide videos in there. Highly recommend check them out. You will hear Bonnie and I's voice a little more when you watch those. But definitely go check those out. Also, again, like Bonnie said, I know there's a lot of questions not answered. Use that chat in here too. So you can just come in here and just click message and just chat with us and ask us those questions. So, but thank you so much. I'm so glad this was really helpful. I know, again, so much that's going to change the game for, cruising stuff. So thank you. And thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Scott, in the back. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody. And I know we'll see you soon because we have so much stuff coming. The year has begun. It is official. It is happening. It's exciting. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.
Bye, guys.